recording?
Yep. You can say greetings to people. I'm always behind this camera now.
I think it usually... Hello, everyone.
Hi there, guys. Welcome. This is going to be a very cool live. Thanks for stopping in here, Katie and Verna. Hey, Verna, how are you? I saw your video on, she went through the, what do you call it? The thing where they eat chicken legs.
The
Renaissance Fair.
Oh, that's
Thanks for
great.
being here, guys. Yeah, tonight is going to be a cool education on the endocrine system in poultry, particularly our chickens and quail, which is pretty important. And I'm going to go over that stuff in a general sense, not too deep. Anybody here the endocrinologist? It's a very, very sophisticated, complex system that takes years of training to be very sophisticated at. But I want to present this guy to you guys in a general, easy to understand fashion, which is relatable to your animals and your experience at home. And go through some terms you may have heard. Sound cool?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people who are familiar with the function, how their birds function and operate, I think that they generally do talk about this system, but not in a way they realize that they're talking about it. So,
Yeah.
because people are usually problem solving and trying to think about health and behavior, like stress and light and food.
Hello, Alex.
And
Sorry.
so
Dude,
therefore,
we're live.
they end up talking about it, but in a very simple way.
Yeah. But, I mean, generality. So when you're working with your animals, you know, what do you call it, like the homestead wisdom, you don't need to have PhD level education to have observational functional knowledge.
Right.
The reason I'm doing these subjects, and if you go back in the past videos, I go a little more in deep, is to instigate, hopefully, some interest in some of this stuff. Because it's really, really fascinating. And it's actually, in a lot of cases, many of the physiological components to our chickens relate to us and our experiences. So we can kind of, not that we have chicken physiology. Speaking of which, I am not a vet. None of this is veterinary advice. If you have a problem with your animals at home, do seek out professional care.
Mm-hmm.
Don't listen to weirdos on the internet
Mm-hmm.
for entertainment. But yeah, the information I'll give you here tonight, you guys, I hope you find useful and maybe even go check it out yourself online. There's plenty of education on this stuff. But like any biological subject, it can be exceptionally complex and very detailed, and you could spend decades studying it, but it's still very cool. So a little bit about us. Alex, if you're new, how are you, buddy? We are, or buddyette. Alex is a girl and boy name.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. But yeah, we're a small homestead here in southern Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Angela is a fabulous silky chicken breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you do well with your breedings of everything.
Yeah, I've been, well, yes, I'm a detailed kind of person.
Ah, dudette.
Dude.
It's a girl. Hi, thank you, Alex. No,
Yes. And yes, we have silkies that we make available to people for sale as pets. And then we have jumbo quail that we raise, and I have I hatch them regularly for customers to
There's
have
little babies
self-sufficiency
downstairs
animals.
right now.
Yep. And they're ideal for fast production of large quail eggs and meat. So they're really good to have on the homestead, or even your small, if you have a tiny piece of property or not really property at all, they still can be incorporated.
Jumbo quails?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I always tell you guys, Alex, you're new, so I'll let you know too. Down in the description of these fabulous videos, I put a ton of free links to educational material that I and Angela wrote from scratch. This is all like non-GPT stuff. Like we wrote it from scratch, did the research, and this is a how to raise quail guide. I always show this because I have it printed. I have other junk down there if you want to look. But this thing will introduce you onto how to raise jumbo quail for food or eggs with zero experience to get you up to speed so you don't have to break your neck trying to learn that stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, pretty much we encourage people to learn new skills, to try and explore options of how you can raise your own food from whatever level, and have the family involved, with animals or plants. But just learn new skills in general, because skills, the point is to better the quality of your life. So.
Yeah, and speaking of which, because we're going to move into this subject right now, but I'd like to say congratulations to Katie. She put up a cool post today on the book about her eggs. She's producing eggs and rendering lard or tallow.
Oh, wow.
And these are all good skills. So she's learned quite a lot in a short bit of time. So
yeah,
that's really awesome.
That's definitely really cool.
So
yeah.
Good on you, man. That's Katie. Very good. All right. I'm now going to segue in with this fish motion into this whole endocrine system. Endocrine system. Everybody's heard of this. So let me ask you, and you guys at home, you can answer too. When you hear the word endocrine system, if you're not familiar with it.
If I'm not familiar with it, what do I think of?
Yeah, I wouldn't say you're deeply familiar with an endocrine system.
I wouldn't really think of a whole lot if I wasn't familiar with it.
The thing that always comes to my mind is what's hyped. I mean, if you go to endocrinologist, as you get older, you have problems, you have issues, maybe a thyroid problem. But endocrine disruptor, right? You're talking about chemicals present in nature and these compounds that are intruding into our hormonal function. So what is the word endocrine? I like to do what's called etymology of words, like root meaning of words. That's how I learn words, and that's how I like to teach words. Because a lot of words, particularly in the sciences, are hard to understand. Is this the light thing for laying? Is this the light thing for laying? Yeah, we're going to be talking about light affecting laying and what's actually happening in the body. But I'll make it quick and easy.
And you were going to talk about the light specifically toward the end.
And I'll talk about the type of lights to use for sure. Where was I? So I like to teach the meaning of words. So endocrine, a lot of words in the sciences are Latin or Greek. Endocrine is Greek, indon, within, karen, to separate. And it means secreting within. That's right, secreting within. So the endocrine system secretes hormones directly into the bloodstream. Sorry, I'm on the phone. Internet is out. Oh, hey, Verna, that's okay. So the hormones are secreting directly into the bloodstream. So what is a hormone? We're going to talk about that. Hormone, this is a Greek, I didn't know what the Greek root was. That's what, I've got my notes. So it is a Greek hormeo, to set in motion, that which stimulates, which it does. So the word hormone comes from Greek hormeo, to set into motion, or that which stimulates. So secreting within, endocrine, secretes hormones, that which stimulates, which is true. So a hormone is a chemical messenger that triggers and regulates activities in parts of the body. So what exactly are hormones? There's different types of hormones. I'm going to be quick with this, because I don't want to dump a ton of info. What are hormones? Do I say that properly? I'm like pronouncing an A. Hormones. I'm saying hormones. I'm saying with an A.
Well, I mean, people just think you're a foreigner.
So the hormone is made from amino acids and cholesterol. So the amino acid hormones are proteins, peptides, and what's called amines. So a protein is a chain of amino acids that have a 3D, they're folded into a 3D shape. They have a shape to them, and they're very complex. You may have recently heard about AlphaFold, which was an AI modeling system that was trying to predict how to fold proteins, a problem we could never solve. Nature does it, but we couldn't predict it. It's very, very difficult. Anyway, so a protein is a folded chain of amino acids, right? A peptide is a shorter chain of amino acids. It doesn't have that three-dimensional fold. And an amine is a singular amino acid that usually has a chemical change to it to make it function as a hormone or a communicator chemical. And lastly are the cholesterol or lipid-based, cholesterol-based hormones, which are the steroids like testosterone, and what the hell else did I list in here? I can't believe I'm forgetting all this stuff. What do I get there? Estrogen. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's out of my head.
Estrogen and testosterone.
I always get lost doing these. All right,
No,
cool.
you do just fine.
She's back on her computer. All right, so very easy stuff. at a fundamental level. Okay, hormones are messenger chemicals made of proteins and cholesterol. And how do they work in the cell? So I'm going to talk about the pathway, how they're communicated to the body, and how it relates to the chickens and to us. The hormone is going to have a receptor in a cell, either intracellular inside the cell or on the membrane. So these protein messengers, these hormones, these proteins, they're what's called water soluble. The cell, okay, the cell outside of the cell, that cell wall, okay, the cell membrane, it is lipid based, so it repels. So there has to be a communicator, a little receptor on the outside of that cell that matches the hormone so it can stimulate action within the cell. Okay, what's cool is the cholesterol or the fat cells, they can just transfer right through that fatty cell membrane because they are not repelled. And what needs to happen though is there has to be a receptor inside the cell for that to function and stimulate its thing. Now the endocrine system is actually very, very ancient. It goes back into our very ancient biology, prehistoric, hundreds of millions of years. It's been with us in the vertebrae anyway since forever. And it's very, very important. So we have our chemical communicating system, the endocrine system, which is the hormone system, which is running at a slower rate compared to our nervous system, which is the electrical impulse system, our muscles, our heart, digestion, okay? So we have these two different basic fundamental bodily functions or systems. So is that clear? It's a lot of stuff and it's complex. I'm trying to keep it simple.
There's also the simple example that was provided, which was like a cell phone receiving a text message. Right. So there has to be.
You have to have the right kind of cell phone to get the right kind of text.
To receive the text.
The text.
So the cell, it has to have the receptor in order to receive
the message from the hormone.
Yeah.
All right. So that was a very broad, general, and slightly, pretty sloppy introduction into that endocrine system. So what are the what do you call them? The main, oh gosh, I took my notes here. Please bear with me 1 second.
What are you looking for?
The main glands. So there's about 8 to 10 main glands in the endocrine system. Oh, yeah, that's exactly why I started following you guys, because I get really good info and clear. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Alex. I have this horrible ADHD brain which makes me talk really fast. And like when I speak to myself, it's because my brain, that's how I learn. So I'm trying to slow down. I've been watching other videos the past 2 days. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you have a suggestion or if you want me to discuss something on here, let me know. I've been doing the more academic-y stuff for the last few months, I guess.
Or even if watching one of the videos, if there's a topic within the subject that we're talking about that you're more interested in, you want to learn more about, because pretty much every one of these lessons, like there's so much more you can explore on. So yeah, if there's something else about the topics that you want to know about. Is this what you're talking
about? That's not needed. No? Okay. All right, so our main glands in our endocrine system, the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, pineal gland, thyroid, parathyroid, adrenal gland, pancreas, and the gonads. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the chicken now.
I like how it provides what it means too.
Well, yeah, all the notes I take, I always want to do the Greek or Latin root and what these words mean. It helps me remember it. So what's happening with chickens and the light in the winter or the fall? So we generally notice that if you don't supply supplemental lighting, they're going to decrease laying, they're going to begin molting. These are hormonal triggers. These are triggered by the light. They're very, what's called photoperiodicity, or photoperiodic. I can't even believe I'm misspeaking. Photoperiodic. Yeah. They're very photoperiodic. They are
You're doing very well.
very sensitive to the amount of daylight, both chicken, quail, poultry, fowl, birds in general. They're very sensitive to light. Why? Because the light cycle is going to indicate the amount of food and resources available for them. You know, squirrels gather nut in the fall. Animals change their behavior
drives their
because winter's coming. Yes.
Their behavior, yep.
And these instincts are hormonally, I keep saying hormone,
No, you said that right.
hormonally driven in the fowl. Remember this endocrine system. I always like to say we have 3 fundamental functions, all of living biology. I'm a big old Christian. I have very deep faith, but I also love science and biology. But the 3 big fundamentals of the biological organism, to eat, to breed, and to stay alive. So this endocrine system, this very ancient thing, facilitates all 3 of these.
Mm-hmm.
So in the bird, in its photoperiodic function, is getting less light. Something's happening. What's happening? Well, that gland I discussed early, the hypothalamus, that's located in the brain, and in fact in us, I'm trying to give a side view, it's kind of above the jawline at the base of the brain. And that hypothalamus is it's the on-guard guy. It's reactionary to the external stimuli. So the hypothalamus is reacting in the chicken to the daylight, stressors, animals coming through, temperature, nutrition needs, and nutrition statuses. Hey, Steve, what's going on? It's really fun to be able to enjoy an educational seminar and discussion and come from my own home. Thank you so much. You know, I like teaching, and like when my kids were little, I always enjoyed, like, because I'm still like, I love to learn. And there's so much cool stuff in the world. That's why I do this. Like, hopefully somebody, particularly if they're in like a cycle of stagnant, like they do the same thing, get home from work, watch TV, go to bed, go to work, get home, watch TV. Well, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to read this book. I found a cool subject that I like. I'm going to learn something new. And, you know, it branches off and develop new hobbies or interests. Mm-hmm. Anyway, what the hell was I talking about?
What were you just
Hypothalamus. So that's kind of like the on-guard reactionary gland in our brain that's reacting to external stimuli, temperature, light changes, like we talked about in the chicken, in birds, stress, and I'm trying to get it. Is this a good side view?
Yeah, I think so.
I didn't bring in my drawing board.
Yeah.
So it's in the brain, the base of the brain, at the bottom underneath. You can look it up on the internet and get...
Perfect side view.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, and you can get a model off of the internet to see what it is. So what the hypothalamus is doing, so there's an axis that's going on. You may have heard of hypothalic pituitary adrenal axis, and there's a reason why this is happening.
I want to know, just because you keep showing where it's located, the Greek words would be under chamber.
Under
so
chamber.
That makes sense.
That makes sense. So the hypothalamus, Greek, what is the root Greek for hypothalamus? Hypothalamus. So there's a Greek word, under chamber. Anyway, so this guy standing on guard, the hypothalamus, the gland in the brain, is like, I guess, a central hub. It's going to communicate to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is the master gland. It's actually up there too, just beneath the hypothalamus. And what the pituitary gland does, that's the mailman. He's sending out all the messages to the different glands to do their job. Okay, so stressors out there, hypothalamus is indicating stress, pituitary glands communicating, it sends hormones to adrenal gland for cortisol, or in a chicken, the analogous hormone is corticosterone in the chicken, whereas a human has cortisol. So that's their stress hormone. And I discussed stress before. Stress is important and stress is healthy. Cortisol and corticosterone provide very important functions, but the stress, when we talk about like chronic stress with our animals, we do not want that, because stress is supposed to be quick. It's supposed to be something that's rapid. It happens quickly. You survive and you go back to baseline.
Yeah, you recover.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be in chronic stress. Stress is supposed to peak and then go back down, not peak and stay up there. So when it's peaking and stay up there, it's very energy intense.
It's like you're in survival mode.
Yeah, and resources are being allocated to the stress condition that the physiology is now going through. So what happens with the birds? They're going to decrease their laying, maybe stop laying. Okay, and what happens with humans? They get sick. They get sicker easy when we're constantly stressed. Why is this? Because the energy is being allocated to that chronic stress, instigated by that adrenal gland. Yeah, chronic stress. We're putting all the energy there, and it's dialing down our immune function, because we do not need immune function when we're being eaten by bears. We just need to get away from the bears.
Right.
So, ancestrally speaking, we're stressed out because we think we need to avoid getting eaten by bears.
Yeah, it's the flight or fight response.
But now, modern human, they're stressed out because they're sitting in front of a computer and have a deadline to meet. Or they're fighting with their spouse or something like this constantly, or their kids in trouble.
Something.
So, not getting eaten by a bear, but even worse, they're under chronic stress. So same with the bird. If they're stimulated, there's a hormonal pathway that's functioning. Hypothalamus to pituitary to that adrenal gland, and it's going crazy and releasing cortisol or corticosterone, and it's chronically high. They're going to decrease laying, because the energy allocation is not going to be there anymore. Make sense? Now, the light and the molting issue. Same pathway. We're talking about the hypothalamus, again, is... so the eyes are taking in light, obviously. Eyes are taking in light, but the brain is receiving this information as well and processing it. Chicken's not thinking about it. He's not going, oh my God. I do believe the light's going down. I need to stop laying eggs, I think. He doesn't think this. This is all chemistry and brain, instinctive or chemical. So there's a trigger in the hypothalamus, which... and I'm using these words over and over so you feel comfortable, or you remember them. And then you can go like, oh, there's this thing in the brain called hypothalamus. It is a messenger. It receives information from external stimuli, or even internal stimuli, like I said, nutritional needs, etc. That's going to communicate to pituitary gland, which is now going to send out communication to whatever other endocrine systems need to be stimulated.
As the mailman.
Yes, like a,
that's what you said.
well, the pituitary gland stays there. It's just spitting out different hormonal chemicals. Luteinizing hormone, follicle, what is this? Hormone, prolactin, and growth hormone from the pituitary gland. So the luteinizing hormone and the follicle secreting hormone, this is happening in the ovary and the hens. So it's going to be dialing back. I don't want to use too many big words. So the, what do you call it? Follicle secreting hormone. Is that what it is? Secreting? Am I mispronouncing the S? Sorry. Anyway, that's what's stimulating growth of egg cells. When they say follicle, this particular hormone, it's not referring to like hair follicles. It's talking to a group of cells. And if you watched my very cool video on the oviduct system, remember the eggs? So the eggs come out microscopic, the yolks, okay? That's where the oviduct or the ovary is, and they start producing the eggs. So they're getting stimulated by the pituitary to do so. Steve said something. It's really fun to be able to... Oh, I already saw that. Did I even mention what's going on with the light yet? I don't think I have.
No, you just kind of mentioned light and how it affects you just vaguely mentioned it.
I believe I did. Sorry, I'm going through my notes because I'm getting so out of track. I'm a little sloppy today. Okay, I did that already.
You mentioned
Discussed
about
that.
their eyes receive the sunlight. They don't have to necessarily stare at the light, and that does affect their body function.
Well, it's going to be affecting their overall body function, not just their feathers, but also molting with the light. Yeah, because Hormone communication is going to be dialed back in accordance to the daylight. So the gonads I mentioned earlier, whenever you say gonads, kids laugh because they think it means testicles. But I don't know why that was adopted.
The Greek meaning means seed.
And it should mean seed because the gonad is the sex gland in both male and female, and the male's testes and the female's ovaries. So yeah, when the light is decreasing, it's dialing back the hormone. I forget which hormone it is. To the
This is molt, feather growth.
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, I was just
It's
wondering
decreasing
what that
hormone
was.
communication. It's decreasing the secretion of the hormone to communicate to the ovaries because that energy allocation doesn't need to be allotted in the winter. Their primary goal at that time, of course, is staying alive. And I did a video a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, that luckily for our pet birds or our homestead animals, they don't have to worry about food. We're feeding them. So they have an artificial food supply.
But the instinct with the light naturally, the molting, it affects their molting, which is good because then they're renewing their feathers and such, and
Yes,
it's good for them
indeed.
to do that at least in a light molt at minimum
Yes, indeed.
for their health.
And we're going to get into that. But I'm going to finish up with, again, I'm going to go over these core endocrine glands one last time because I want to run into the light issue, what kind of light we're using and why. So the hypothalamus we discussed again in the brain, base of the brain. It's the main switchboard kind of gland that's receiving the external stimuli, the light, the stress, the temperature, the what do you call it? Nutritional needs or lack thereof. The pituitary gland just beneath the hypothalamus. Okay, that's the master gland that's relaying commands to everybody else. It's except for the pineal gland. I should have mentioned that. So all the other glands in the body, there's a pathway. It goes from hypothalamus, pituitary, and then to the other glands, except for the pineal gland in the brain. It's right up there. So it's hypothalamus, direct hormonal communication to the pineal gland. And again, I could go into this stuff for hours and hours because it can be rather complex.
Yeah.
Next, our thyroid. You guys probably know the thyroid, butterfly-shaped gland in the neck, in our human necks. And in the birds, it's, I guess in their trachea, below the larynx. So we and these chickens have very similar glands. Yes?
What did you just say? Which gland?
Thyroid. I'm going off of my notes.
Yeah, it's beside the trachea.
Yeah, adrenal glands. They're on our kidneys, and which is interesting with the birds, it's inside of their kidneys. And adrenal glands are producing cortisone, corticosteroid, and adrenaline, fight or flight. Adrenal gland, adrenaline, easy to remember. Right? The gonads we discussed, the testes and the ovaries producing the sex traits and eggs, etc. Pancreas, this is behind our human stomach, and in the birds it's located in the duodenal loop, which is kind of like in their intestines. And that's for digestion and blood sugar control. Anything else I want to mention here? Am I missing one? No. Okay, cool. Now, sorry for being sloppy. Oh, hey, Katie again. There we go. You two got rude for a little there. It's okay. I was losing myself. I take notes. I write notes every week, and then I get a little sloppy when I'm going through this because I try to go off of my head because I teach myself this stuff throughout the week if I don't already know it. And this, I'm not an endocrinologist. I had basic understanding, but it can be extremely complex. I mean, even
I think though when you
101
were going over what you wanted to talk about, you went through like all of it in your mind, and for this teaching, you're trying to simplify it too, so your brain is trying to it's working against yourself because you like to be
well,
thorough.
everything should be easy to understand at a fundamental level. Okay, endocrine system is a bunch of glands in your body that secrete hormones directly into the bloodstream. They're not. It's called a ductless system, like ductwork. So what's happening, rather than having, like we have tear ducts, salivary glands, there are ducts. Now these endocrine glands, they're secreting directly in the bloodstream. They're not through duct systems. They're getting direct through the blood so they can get to the cells they need to get to and communicate what they need to communicate. Unless there's a disease, dysregulation, cancer, etc. You can have problems with those glands, of course. That's why we have endocrinologists.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a problem. What did Katie said? You two are adorable. She's probably talking about you. And amazing humans for sharing your knowledge. Y'all rock. Aw.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I like sharing knowledge. Knowledge is great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I always said when I finally croak, when I go off to heaven, I'm going to work at the kindergarten and teach the kids and take them on, like, you know, down to the stream and do lots of learning. Because learning's great. It's hard to teach adults because, oh, God, they went through middle school, high school, a lot went to college, and when they're done, they're like, I'm done.
Well, no, I think it's adults have responsibilities and kids really don't. They're, you know, brand new, fresh, and exploring and learning for the first time. But adults still want to learn. It's just that the responsibilities of life sometimes gets distracting. But anyway.
I forgot to mention one of the very important hormones that we often talk about. Vitamin D3. Vitamin D3, is that a hormone?
No.
Ba, 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 ba. So vitamin D3. We all know what vitamin D3 is for, don't we? Do we? What is D3 important for? Do you remember?
Well, it affects the immune system.
Yes, it does. I'm talking about in our chickens, the absorption, transportation, deposition of calcium. Yeah. So what's happening with D3? Well, where do they get the D3? Well, you can supplement it in their diet for sure, but chickens, just like us, synthesize D3.
So it helps them process it.
Yeah, from sunlight. And the chickens have, so there's areas where their skin is exposed, where it's lightly feathered, where sunlight can get down to the skin, and the skin can create, it's not actually D3 that's made there, it's a precursor to D3. So when vitamin D3 is manufactured in the body, it's not, you're out in the sun and you have D3. It's a little more complex than that. Well, what's biology? It's extremely complex, but I'll dumb it down. You're creating a precursor, it goes down to the liver, I think, and it goes through a phase of transition. It has to go through a couple, it's vitamin D precursor down to the liver, down to the kidney, and its bioavailable form is calcitriol. And calcitriol should be easy to remember. Calcium. Calcitriol. Trial 3. Calcium. That's how I remember stuff.
That's interesting, yep.
I also have this file system in my brain where I'll go back and remember where I was and open the file and read it. Like, you know, like one of those lunatics from the movies. I'm sure you've done this before. Anyway, yeah, calcitriol. So vitamin D3 and its bioavailable form to which it's going to be used in the body, and it's functioning as a hormone, as a messenger, as a communicator, as the calcitriol, saying, hey, get some calcium over here to this eggshell. It doesn't really talk, though.
No.
So that's very interesting, and I wanted to mention that, yeah, calcium and vitamin D3. Okay, cool.
There's another comment.
Roosters can help with those patches of bare skin for the hens, at least. Yes, they can. The roosters like to sometimes
they get
feathered.
overly excited and rough with their
so it's important. Oh, I'm sorry.
rough with their feet.
Yeah.
The mounting of the hens.
Yeah, but like raising a chicken inside versus outside. Some people keep them inside, so they're not getting exposure to the sunlight, just like people who live inside of boxes all day, every day. They're not exposed to the sunlight. I wrote a wellness package for my son, my baby boy. I wrote him instructions on how to function healthy. Good nutrition, exercise, lack of or management of stress, proper sleep. What else was there? I'm saving outside for last. Human interaction, healthy relationships. Human interaction is very important. Spiritual grounding. And of course, I'm missing one, but outside time, getting outside exposure to the outdoor environment. It's not only calming and good for you. Yes, what do you call it? It's not only distressing. It's something.
Being outside.
Yeah, it's healthy to be outside, be in nature, but also exposure to the sunlight for that vitamin D3.
And if you feel comfortable to slip your shoes off and be barefoot on the ground, which you're a big fan of.
I think I have
for
worms.
A little bit.
I walk barefoot every
Anyway,
day.
it's good for you to
What's these things?
get grounded.
I remember when my grandfather saying to me that if a chicken's comb was deep red, that it's a sign of good health. Yeah, that's true because of the blood flow.
Like bright red.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's more of like a
vascularity,
like
blood
if it's
flow.
a purple, then there's a serious heart issue. But
Yeah,
yeah,
what's really
bright
see
red.
what astounds me is, and I'm going to talk about lighting systems, but what astounds me is nature is phenomenally magnificent at designing its living organisms. I mean, these things are designed to live just perfectly. They're designed to live at this homeostasis perfectly. The problem is they can't do that because there's too many variables being introduced that interrupt that baseline perfect homeostasis. So like with us, smog, junk food, sugar, stress, there's a lot of variables that are coming in that interfere with this beautiful, intricate, exceptionally complex biology. I mean, think about like our waterways. So I grew up in like Baltimore County, and we have the Chesapeake Bay. Now the Chesapeake Bay 300 years ago was pristine. It was like a living, it was filled to the brim with life and clean and clear. Now it's a swamp mess. It's getting better, but humans came in and they disrupted that delicate, beautiful, self-reinforcing ecology. And all these systems, they function like living organisms. Like an ecological system functions like a living organism, like an independent organism. I swear my migraines will temporarily subside when I go outside to check birds and come back when I go inside. Fresh air and sun on your face make all the difference.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It really does feel good.
Yeah. I wonder what that is. I always experiment on myself, but it's really, really hard to do because, again, there's so many variables. You don't know what's contributing or co-contributing to whatever an outcome is.
But getting that vitamin D too, yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely good.
Like I worked in a hospital for many years, a psychiatric hospital, and people are like, I can't sleep. Oh, obviously they're going through stress, but then using my magnificent deductive reasoning, I'm like, well, I think it's because you're drinking 2 cups of coffee at 10 o'clock at night. That may be contributing.
And then, of course, there's screens. You know, we're looking at these screens, and that disrupts our sleeping with the lights.
All right. So going on to the light issue, Alex, if you're still here, sorry for all the rambling. So as I discussed at the very beginning of this thing, poultry, birds, avian critters, they're very photoperiodic. They're photoperiodicity. They react to the daylight and the amount of hours in the day. They're very sensitive to it. So what do a lot of people do? What do? We supplement the lights, but therein can be a problem. I made a 2-minute video or 3-minute video yesterday about this. What's the problem? Do you want to talk about this or should I?
No, you can.
Okay.
That's fine.
So most of us are using LEDs now, light emitting diodes. We're using the LED lights. They're very energy efficient. They last forever. They don't burn out. We don't use incandescent bulbs anymore, which produce a lot of heat and they cost more, and both have their pros and cons. I'm going to talk about what they are with our chickens. So LEDs, and I talked about this in our Chicken Vision YouTube video from a few weeks ago. Still here just cleaning waterers and scrubbing them. It never ends. That's what we did today.
Yeah.
So LEDs, like when we look at the light, it looks like it's staying on. Maybe you guys know this already, maybe you don't. But they're not on. They're not just constantly on. They're very, very rapidly flashing. They're flashing so fast that we can't see the flash. These lights I have in here, I don't know what their flicker rate is. They're cheaper lights, so they're probably a lower flicker rate, around 60 flashes every second, or hertz, 60 hertz.
And you can, if you take your phone and you record the light, and we've experienced recording maybe something on the TV screen or on your computer screen, but if you point it toward a light too, you'll see the flicker. And how do you explain that? Recording light.
Yeah, if you guys ever record something in the house, you may have seen the light flickering, and that's why that is, because you're the video is taking a series of photographs. That's what a video is. It's just a bunch of still photos. So it's taking photographs, and at some point, that shutter is recording when the flicker is turned off, just for that brief 1/60th of a second, and you're going to perceive that. Why am I telling you all this? Well, we don't perceive it. The chickens do. They perceive flicker rates much higher than humans. Our rate is about 30 frames per second. So a movie runs at about 24 to 30 frames per second. We're not going to perceive that it's still pictures flipping one after the other. We don't see that. The flicker rate is too sensitive for us. A chicken would notice it. So a chicken or a bird, because they have a much higher flicker rate, is about double ours, 120 hertz or 120 flashes per second. They're going to be able to perceive it. You put a cheap LED into their coop at night, they may very well have a stress response because it's like flashing.
They can see the flashing, just like the example when you record something with your phone, then you can see it yourself.
Yeah so that could be a stressor for them. So you want to look, or if you're doing supplemental lighting, if you're not using incandescent light, which is like a filament, and that's just burning, like a candle. It's not flickering, it's just burning. Most people don't use them because they burn out. They're more susceptible to breaking or having issues, and they get hot. Mm-hmm. They use a lot more energy too. So people use LEDs. So what do? Make sure you have a higher flicker rate, at least 120. But if you're buying a high flicker LED or a flicker-free light, it's probably going to be much higher than that anyway. So just look at your packaging.
So that if you point your phone and record a bulb that has a high flicker rate or flicker-free, it's labeled that way, and you're recording it, it likely won't be seeing any change at all. It'll just look like a light.
Yeah.
You won't see flickering at all.
Yeah, so why are we doing this? Again, we want to affect that hormonal response. Once the birds are under, 14 hours? Mm-hmm. 13 hours, once it's less than that?
Yeah, they really should have, a little more than 14.
Yeah, 14 to 16 hours of daylight. Or 14 to 16 hours of daylight with supplemental light. So if it's wintertime and they're only 9 hours of light?
Yeah.
You can, and it's advised, if you want to continue egg laying and decrease the severity of their molting, then put in the supplemental light.
Yeah, they'll do a light molt instead of a heavy molt.
Yeah, they're going to molt either way, and molting's important. It's getting rid of old junky feathers, putting in new plumage for the winter.
But they'll start laying much faster.
Yeah.
With the light. And also, if you have them in an area where maybe the shade has now become darker than maybe in the summertime, but it's still light out, that shade may be just dark enough that they're just not absorbing enough. The light quality isn't enough. So you might have to bump the hours of the supplemental light a little more than
yes,
just
indeed. Yeah, but if your birds have gone through molt or they're molting, you may want to increase protein. Their energy needs are going to increase with the winter, just like any other critter living outside. What do? They don't move around as much to conserve that energy, and they try to eat more to put on more energy. Mm-hmm. So be aware of that. And the light thing can be an issue, the flickering light. So look at flicker rates of the LEDs that you choose to use in your hutch. And you may have been using them for a while and not noticed a problem. I mean, that's possible too.
Just do a quick test. Take your phone outside and record your lights.
It in slow-mo.
In slow-mo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So my phone records at 240 frames per second.
Okay.
And so when I was recording our lights, there was no flicker.
Oh, okay.
But when I was recording our house light, it was like strobing.
So slow. So record in slow motion the lights that you already have up and see if they're okay.
Or just look at their flicker rate. If it's over 120, you're probably
Well, I mean,
fine.
if there is or isn't a label.
Oh, that's right.
That's what I mean.
Cool. All right. I think this has been very cool. Does anybody have any deep questions? Now remember, I'm not an endocrinologist. This is not my house of wheels. Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
No, wheel house. But I do like biology and science, and this is a very interesting subject, and it's something we should be aware of, because you do hear, as you get older, you become aware of the endocrine system, because that's when you start having hormonal issues.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're younger, if you have, you're not really thinking about it that much unless you have a medical issue, so it's not familiar to you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always good to be familiar with this kind of information. It pertains to your body. It's important stuff, and it's ancient structure. This is ancient physiology. This is not something new. This has been around forever, really, with animals with a spine. Vertebrates. I like slugs. What are they, gastropods?
I don't remember.
Is that right? Pseudopods? No, pseudopod means false foot. I think that's them. Anyway. Okay, guys, I think that will just about do it. That was 48 minutes of gland talk.
Yeah.
Any last words, ladies and gentlemen? Because if not, I'm going to go and clean up our talk place. Oh, wait a minute. Since the time of the dinosaurs, yes, you can also keep the slugs. Yeah, people don't like slugs. What's that guy's name? Joe Salatin?
The farmer man?
Is that his name? Joe?
Joel.
Joel. Yeah, why did I misspell
No,
his
you
name?
were close.
Joel Salatin. I like what he said. You don't have a slug problem. You have a lack of ducks problem.
Oh, he said that.
Because he does the
regenerative farming.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Verna. I'm glad you got to get out to the old Renaissance fair. Did you eat a turkey's leg?
Yeah, turkey leg.
These big giant turkey legs. Yeah, I saw your video. It looked very nice. I'm glad you had a good time. Katie, thanks for stopping in. Congratulations on your egg and your whole homestead endeavor. It's come along smashingly. Most people don't do anything, and you've done quite a lot.
Yeah.
Alex, thank you for coming in. And now I know you're a girl, Alex, and not a boy, Alex.
You're a dudette.
You can't tell. You just have a name and a little circle next to the name. Anything else going on here? Steve, if you're still here, thanks for coming in, buddy. And anybody new who's watching this, hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions for a subject you'd like to hear about, let me know. Me and my brain like doing stuff. I take my brain everywhere. Like, we've been hanging out a long time.
I'm glad to hear it.
Like, I've had friends come and go. Been married before. I still have the same brain.
I think it grows, though.
Yeah. Yeah. There are more Renfest videos still coming out. Oh, awesome. Yeah, what was I going to say? It was about my brain. Oh, I don't know, it wasn't that important. All right, guys, thank you very much. I'm going to go. It was really a pleasure. I like doing this. Did you have a nice time doing this
It was very nice.
Did you learn something?
Uh-huh.
See? That's good learning. I have to go behind here because I have this hillbilly setup.
Yes, so thank you everybody for stopping in. If you are new and have not yet subscribed to our channel, feel free to subscribe and like the video. But yeah, Christopher, as he explained, he enjoys doing these educational videos, so that's what we like to focus on.
Good night, Alex. Have a happy night. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.